Welcome back to JUCO Jam. Believe it or not, this is already episode number 10. Brandon, what a week in JUCO hoops we had. Are you ready to get into it?
Let's go.
All right. All right, let's get into the rewind. Monday night, we had a fantastic game. South Plains, Midland. South Plains squeaks it out 70-69. Malik Ewan, great game, 19 and 10. Jabari McGee with 18. Jamari Hill with 17. Great win for the Texans. Big, that was a tough game going on the road. Road wins in the Whack-Jack, which is Western Texas, is they're very difficult to come by. And yet again, the Texans stand undefeated.
Yeah, this was kind of one of those games that we had circled with, potential upset, and then later on in the week for South Plains, kind of the same thing where are one of these teams gonna get them, finally here. And while I'm sure if you'd have said after the game, Coach Hayden, how happy are you with the win, he'd probably say something along the lines of, I can't believe we didn't play better, but if you're going to win a national championship, you have to know how to grind those types of games out. And I know it's cliche, coach, baloney or whatever. Everybody wants to win by 50. Nobody actually wants to grind one out. But I think there's a lot to be learned and take away from that game. Some confidence that you can have a close one and pull it out. And that's absolutely what they did.
You don't want your first tough game to be in Hutch.
No, that's true. That's true. We've seen a lot of high seeds go through Hutch and just right away,
shut down in a blaze of glory.
Yep.
Bon Jovi reference to the young kids out there. You can Google
Ayo.
All right, Wednesday. I mean, we just keep squeezing the citrus. Eastern Florida, Florida Southwest. Eastern Florida might be the hottest team in the country, scorching hot right now. The Titans with a big 81-66 win over the Bucks. Owen Aquino, fantastic as always, 19-10-6. And I gave Coach Schulman a little bit of hard time earlier in the season. I may have questioned how tough they were when it came to rebounding, and they out-rebounded Florida Southwestern, who's maybe one of the most athletically gifted teams in the country, 37-19, which is just a crazy eye-popping number. Jay Sean Thomas had 23 points for Florida Southwest, and they shot the lights out of the ball. They had 11 out of 28 from three. I mean, that's an incredible win for the Titans on the road.
Yeah, they just seem to keep getting better and better and better. And I actually talked to Coach Schulman this week about his team. And he's absolutely loving coaching this squad. Just a lot of really, really, really capable, dynamic players that you can change things quickly, you can make adjustments. They listen, they play hard, they rebound the heck out of the ball. They just kind of keep climbing up the standings here. And Owen Aquino, we talk about it every week, it seems like. If you said give me three names that are vying for National Player of the Year right now, for me, he's one of those three.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Checks every box. Let's go out to Kansas if we shall. Butler 71 at Barton 93. Barton, another team, scorching hot. Butler had four players in double figures. Christian Richardson and Deuce Drake was 16 each. Ring Malith, 31, 7 for 10 from three. Mr. Jones, Leger Jones with 11 and 10. Barton also shot incredibly well, 13 out of 28 from three, so almost 50% from three. I mean, Barton, red hot. It's going to take a lot for somebody to beat them right now in the Jayhawk.
Yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit more about this team with Coach Combs later on, but they're getting it done from all over the place, and they still don't have 100% Mose back yet, and everybody else is really stepping up, and Mose is now starting to find his feet and get back to who he is. It was great to see Christian Richardson have a big game, big man for Butler that has just so much raw, untapped talent. But when you're 7-1, it just kind of takes a while sometimes to get all the motor bits moving. And it seems like maybe he's starting to find some stride there. So that was really good to see. But yeah, Butler, great team, tough team, hard out on any given night. But Barton showing like that, they're going to take a run at this national championship.
Let's matriculate our way to the Panhandle Conference if we shall. Last week, we hypothesized, would it be possible that a Donnie Tyndall team could lose 3 games in a row? In fact, it is not. Chipola 68, Gulf Coast 66. Hard fought game. Jared Colonel with 18-6.
Yeah, Gerald's having a great season. He's kind of the prototypical Donnie Tyndall guy. He's just tough, gets things done. Um, but yeah, no, they tried to lose three in a row. They tried real hard, but Donnie Tyndall would not let them uh, lose three in a row.
Kind
This
of
is a
willed
team.
them to victory.
Yeah, this is a team that, has its flaws like most teams. And this is kind of the moment I think that they're going through some stuff, figuring out who they are and what they want to be and all that coming up to playoff time. But don't bet against Donnie Tyndall, especially when it comes to crunch time towards the end of the season.
Speaking about coaches you would never want to count out, let's move out west. Coach Kyle Taylor at Salt Lake. This is a revenge game against Utah State Eastern. Eastern got them in Salt Lake earlier in the year. Not so much this week. Salt Lake bounces back with an 84-72 win. Bryce Zephyr with 18-7. Zion Collins with 10 assists. And Martell Williams, who we featured previously on the show, with 25 points for Eastern. This was a good win for Salt Lake. I think they lost three out of five games at one stretch here, December 28th through kind of mid-January. This seems to be a team that's also trending in the right direction as we head down the stretch.
Yeah, definitely gave Coach Taylor quite a bit to talk about with some of their performances and be able to point to and say, look, which team do you want to be? You want to be this team at the beginning of the season that was just railroading everybody, or do you want to be this team that is acting like we don't want to keep playing? Fortunately, they chose the first thing. Big time game by Bryce. Really good player. Recruitment has really taken off, and Martell Williams is as good as they come. It's really good to see him kind of take advantage. We talked about him and his unique story and background and his path to junior college. Having 25 on a team like Salt Lake is a lot, but just wasn't quite enough on that night.
We had another hard-fought game in Western Texas. Midland 60, Odessa 66. This was a really good win for Odessa. For Midland, they were led by Luke Davis, who's kind of starting to find his way with 16-5. Issa Pippa White with 20. Demons Woods with 15-9 for Odessa. And just looking at my Western Texas standings right now, Odessa at second place at 7-2. This drops Midland back to tied for fifth at 4-5, and it's critically important that they finish in one of those top four spots to be able to go to postseason in Western Texas. It's just not a given, like in a lot of regions where you automatically get to play in your region tournament. Not so much in Western Texas. You got to be one of those top four. Talk about Odessa and Midland here, BG.
Yeah, it's tough because the way that league is set up, a team like Midland, if the standings ended today, they're out, and they're also a team that could win that league in tournament play. They're kind of at the point now where I think we talked about this last week, that they are now building towards what are we going to be if we get a chance to play in the tournament. What are the things we have to do to get to play in our conference tournament? Luke Davis being back and kind of getting his legs underneath him will probably have a significant impact on that. And look, I mean, they're sitting, excuse me, in that tied for fifth spot, and they're also one game out of being in
Third
third.
place. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the top two teams have kind of started to pull away a little bit, but
Three
there's
through six is going to be a battle through the last weekend, I would imagine.
100%. Those four teams there are just going to be, it's going to be a heavyweight fight every night.
And then also in Western Texas Thursdays, New Mexico 76, South Plains 85. Malik Ewan was sensational, 32, 8-5. Jamari Hill 19, 6-5. Malik Ewan looked like the guy who might be the best player in the country. At least he may have been Thursday night.
Yeah, no Jabari McGee for South Plains that night, and so for Malik Ewan to step up and kind of say, "Hey, we got your back." Same with Jamari. That was big. That was a game that very easily could have gotten away from them if they'd have come in with the wrong attitude about it, and just they said, you know what, like we're trying to stay undefeated. We're trying to run the table. We're trying to Steve Green this thing. And I don't know if they can do it or not. That is quite a significant ask, but I would say that this was some indication that they have some of that in them, that they can come in a tough situation and step up like that and have a big win.
Two big games on Saturday in the Jayhawk Conference. Hutch defeated Cloud 75-56 in the sports arena. Cloud really struggled to shoot the ball, 5 out of 21 from three, 16 out of 58 from the field, which is just 28%. Check Sal with 12 and 14. And even though Cloud struggled to shoot the ball, they managed as a team to have 20 offensive rebounds, which is incredible. For Hutch, Dallas Whitney with 19, Valentino Simon with 14 and 16. And Cameron Thomas continues his strong play with 15 and 6. I mean, that's a great win for Hutch because Cloud's a game that could have easily been kind of a trap game for them. And Hutch is definitely in the mix for an at-large berth.
Yeah, and almost like a new era of Coach DeSalma basketball there in Hutch. They don't have to win games by scoring 120 points, and that makes them more dangerous than ever. At any given time, they can really, go on a tear, but they seem much more comfortable than, in the past getting into a half court game and playing defensive basketball and, kind of slowing things down and taking advantage of their spots. And that defense to, kind of lock up a very, very well coached, well executing Cloud team was a big statement.
Yeah, Coach Tommy DeSalm hasn't turned the heat all the way up to 100. He's just kind of kept it like it's 72 this year. So, I mean, it's a strange year, right? Hutch isn't pressing and trapping. Coach Bill Morosco at Indian River is not pressing and trapping. Like, I don't even know what's going on. It's a crazy year. Guys, that's your calling card. Let's go. But life's funner when we're playing at 100. But I know these guys are trying to win basketball games too, so they're doing a great job. Maybe the game of the week in junior college basketball happened in Region 14, Panola, Trinity Valley. Trinity Valley with a huge win, 60-58. Ahmad Bynum with 18 and 15, and Jonah Hinton led the way for Panola with 13. So yeah, I just feel like you have these three kind of heavyweights in Region 14 with Lee, Panola, Trinity Valley, and it doesn't seem like one of them can get any separation from the other. It's just kind of this three-headed monster that we don't know who's the best team.
Yeah, everybody just shows up with baseball bats and it's just a knuckle drag fight every night. And all three teams deserving of being in Hutch. We'll see who makes it at the end of the day. But tough, just that tough Texas basketball that you really want to watch. And as soon as you tune into any of those three teams playing, that's what you're going to see. They're really well coached. Lots of Division I players all over the floor for all of those teams. It's going to be a heck of a finish here in East Texas.
That concludes the rewind. Are you ready for the rundown?
Let's get into it.
We got some good games this week. Starting off Tuesday night, we have Indian Hills and Moberly. These teams are, when the game starts, they'll probably be both ranked between 14 and 18, something like that. Probably both on the bubble for an at-large. I mean, I think we're definitely in the resume building portion of the season. I know that Indian Hills, obviously with this Moberly game, they still have a game with Triton left. These are big resume games, huge one in Moberly.
Yeah, Indian Hills, maybe the toughest schedule in the country this year. Have won some big games, have let a couple get away that maybe they should have gotten. A team that is capable of being a top 5 to 10 team. Just some consistency things. So yeah, you get a win at Moberly here and pick up a couple more over the next week and a half. You've really positioned yourself well. If you drop one here, then you still have plenty of time and games left to kind of position yourself because of how hard their schedule has been, and they have a lot of those signature wins, but they are kind of getting into that time of the year where people are kind of really focusing in on, hey, show us who you really are right now. And this is the time where they got to, get rid of some of those inconsistencies.
Yeah. You don't want to be backed into a corner where you feel like you absolutely have to win the game against potentially North Dakota State College of Science coming to your place.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
that's a team that's certainly good enough to beat Indian Hills or any team in the country on any given night. Wednesday night, we have a great at-large bubble game, Hutchinson Cali, right? If Barton does win that district, Hutch, Cali are going to be two teams that raise their hand and say, "Hey, we'd like one of those 8 at-large bids," and I think they would both be very deserving. So at this point, it's going to be a great basketball game.
Yeah, I mean the Jayhawk this time of year, especially now with the system where we have with the 8 at-larges, you and I can wish for more, but right now we got a great at-large system with 8 teams. These are the games that get super super exciting because in the Jayhawk especially, you have an opportunity for a signature win, pretty regularly in that conference play, and this one is no different. Whichever team comes out of here is going to be able to circle that one for the committee and say, hey, this was a big time win.
Absolutely. Thursday night, we got two big ones. We have New Mexico at Odessa, CSI at Salt Lake. I don't think we've talked about CSI today. Talk a little bit about what you see out of these fours and what excites you the most out of that two
Well,
games.
we talked about the Whack-Jack standings before. Like, this is a huge opportunity for New Mexico to make a statement here. Odessa sitting at 7-2 in conference play in second place. New Mexico, kind of in that tie for third behind them.
Five and
Uh,
four.
sorry.
5 and 4.
Yeah, 5-4. Yep, at 5-4, and they're not going to jump anybody with a win here, but it definitely could be a little bit of a separating win if they can get this one. And then CSI Salt Lake is about as good as it gets. It's just
Blue Bloods.
this is a little bit Dookie, North Carolina, situation. Both teams are just absolutely loaded. CSI did take them a little bit to get the wheels turning in the right direction this year, but they are talented and they're going to be trying to do some ranking climbing here late to make their own statement for getting an at-large bid. And at the end of the day, if it comes down to being close, they get to stand up and say, we're CSI. And so they just need to find a way to position themselves to get that.
And then Saturday, I got 6 games. I got 6 games here circled that I'm interested in on Saturday. I'll give you two at a time. Monroe and Harcum, kind of the beast of the East going against each other. Monroe at 20-5, Harcum at 20-4, and then Vincennes versus Logan. Logan's a little bit down this year from what they expected. I have no doubt that they will be completely locked in and ready to go when the Trailblazers come to Carterville. Out of those two games, what interests you the most?
That Monroe Harcum rivalry is a very, very underrated rivalry. It is always a good game. There's a lot of talent out there. Just kind of the way the setup is with East Coast and junior colleges and things, it doesn't get the attention that sometimes it deserves. But that game is always a good one. And this could be a good preview for who's coming out of that district to Kansas. And then Vincennes Logan. Yeah, Logan just kind of one of those years for them, but always dangerous, always tough. Recruiting starting to pick up for some of their guys. Maybe that's going to embolden them a little bit. And Vincennes really looking at it where, Coach Franklin has a really, really good team. And, in his mind, he's thinking another national championship. And so, you got to be able to go on the road and get these games late like this. And so this should be another good one.
Next we're going to give you Eastern Florida versus Indian River, which is Coach Schulman, Coach Bill Morosco. Morosco was with Schulman when the Titans went to the Final Four, and then Butler Hutchinson. So big week for the Blue Dragons.
Remind me, Eastern Florida got the win last time, right? This is the run back. Yep.
Correct.
So,
Yep. Round two.
two teams that have, I mean, in that game, there's going to be 12 to 14 Division I players. And two guys that know each other very, very well. They both have a lot of size and length, not only in the forward spot, but at the guard position as well. I mean, some of these guards are enormous. So it's a fun game to watch. I'm excited to see, some of these kids that have been flying under the national radar just a little bit, especially from a recruiting standpoint, that are starting to blow up now that we're getting into mid-February and teams are
Well,
figuring out what
let
they
me
need.
ask you a question on that real quick because I know
Yeah.
you know this world. Number 22 on Eastern Florida, Luca, is it Kolsic?
Yep.
Is I mean, he looks like a guy to me whose stock is going up and up and up and up. And Zusic on Eastern Florida he can just shoot the leather right off the ball. Like if he's open right now, it's going in. Are those two guys who are just like crazy stock climbers right now? And people are like, whoa, who are these guys?
Yeah, yeah, starting to get some of those calls where they're asking, where did these guys come from? What's their background? Almost as if like they just came out of thin air, where they've been playing really well all year.
Right.
But that's just kind of the nature of junior college and the attention that some people do or don't give to it recruiting wise. So yeah, I mean, at this point of the season, I don't remember exactly what Luka's averaging, something like 14 and 8 or something like that, and he shoots it and he's 6'9", and
Handles the ball well.
moves the ball well. He's super smart, all this sort of thing. People are going to, all of a sudden click on his name and just be like, well, wait a minute. What is this guy doing? And there's a bunch of that in junior college right now. Like just so much talent all over the place that people haven't really paid attention to. So it's going to be chaos for the next 30 days leading up to the national tournament, where a lot of people are finding out who these kids are for the first time. And it's actually really exciting when it happens.
And then we have two really cool games to end the night with. Chipola, Northwest Florida, round 3 of Coach DeMeo, Donnie Tyndall, and it's split 1-1. So this is the big one. This might be for the Panhandle Conference. And then CSI Snow, our nightcap. Snow got trounced this week by Utah State Eastern. No shame in that. Eastern's done that to people. But this is a really interesting week for CSI. I think maybe I might be as interested in what CSI does this week as any team in the country, because they have the two really great guards, but they're going on the road, Salt Lake Snow, the way that conference works. This is like a real moment for CSI to really kind of catapult themselves, I think.
Yeah, and CSI has the big man to go against Max Triplet, so
Right.
that should be really good to watch down low. If CSI can grab a couple this week at Salt Lake and then against Snow, which is a
Sure,
tall
easy feat,
order.
right?
Yeah, tall order. But if they do, you have to think that they kind of start really launching themselves into that conversation for, those at-large bid talks. And then Chipola, Northwest Florida. I mean, it's tough to find a better matchup than that. And yeah, third game. What do we
It's
call that? The
it's
mirror match?
really yeah, I mean it's really hard to play a team 3 times in a season, let alone, right, they could play each other in the state tournament and then potentially play each other in Hutch. I mean, why not play each other 5 times a season? But I mean,
Right.
this is a game because of the familiarity. I mean, it's going to be like a 58-54 game. Like points are going to be hard to come by.
Yeah, yeah. This is, Gerald Colonel and Tavion Banks squaring up in center court just to see who's going to out tough who. When you've got two legendary coaches like Donnie Tyndall and Steve DeMeo, a lot of fun to watch, and especially in mid-February when it really matters. This isn't like, oh yeah, what a great preview for what the rest of the season is going to look like. Like we're here, man. We're 30 days away from the end of the regular season. So here we go.
Can't wait to watch that. That concludes the rundown. Stay with us. When we return, we're going to have head coach Jeremy Combs of Barton with us in the spotlight.
As the second largest intercollegiate athletic association in the country, the NJCAA serves not only a pivotal role in college athletics, but in higher education. The NJCAA Foundation aims to move the association forward through resources, grant programs, and other special initiatives. Your gift to the NJCAA Foundation will make a difference and create opportunities.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
Welcome back to JUCO Jam. We are in the spotlight. We are so excited today to have head coach Jeremy Combs of the Barton Cougars. Been ranked second for several weeks now. You guys have had an amazing season. You're 22-1. Your only loss this season is to Cali, and you guys have played a terrific record, which we'll talk about shortly. 10-1 versus teams that have ranked or received votes. You're 63-24 overall since joining Barton. Coach Combs, thanks so much for joining us here at JUCO Jam.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And then, of course, thanks for everything that you guys do for JUCO basketball. I mean, it's just unbelievable the exposure you guys are helping these kids get, and it just helps us as coaches, and we truly appreciate it.
Well, it's a labor of love. We absolutely love it. It's a joy. It's a great hobby.
Sometimes it's more labor than love, but whatever.
There's a balance there. It's a sliding scale, right? This team has been awesome. Kind of right out of the gate, you guys have been good, but you just keep getting better and better. I think you're kind of finding your stride. But what do you like most about this 23-24 Barton Cougars team?
I think there's a lot to like about them, but probably the thing that I enjoy the most is just them as a group. They're a great group of guys on and off the court. We've done a lot of stuff in our community that they've been fantastic at. We've had camps and things like that they've just, the kids in this community love them. But just being around those guys, they're great guys. They're competitors. They understand when you got to turn it on the court. But then, in the locker room, we can goof around a little bit. So it's just a fun group to coach.
That's awesome. Now, from the outside, it's kind of always been everyone outside of Kansas thinks, oh, but Kansas, they just play each other. They don't go out and play anybody. And you guys have kind of changed that narrative, I think, this year when you look at your schedule versus maybe teams in the past in the Jayhawk. So nobody's disputing the Jayhawk conference, very good. You don't get many nights off. But you went out this year, you played some really tough competition, NEO, North Idaho, Tonkawa. Talk a little bit about your theology when it comes to building a strong schedule outside of the Jayhawk conference.
Yeah, so there's several different approaches to it, and some the gauntlet of the Jayhawk conference is so tough, and sometimes coaches want to play a little bit of a lighter schedule, just knowing that we've got a bunch of really tough games. But for us, really, and especially based off last year, we wanted to make sure our strength of schedule was up there, and also just prepare us for the conference play that we have. And so we went out. I was really trying to get a full all D1 schools. We had North Idaho coming to our place, and then the kind of just the situation that they were in over there, and the conference that they were moving into and getting out of. They had to drop some games and ended up dropping a game at our place, but and it was really last second. So we kind of reached out to some JUCOs to try to figure out if we could get another Division I school. But with it being so late, we ended up just having to add a JV. But other than that, we played all Division I schools. So really just wanted to have that strength of schedule, and then also just get our guys ready.
That's great. I think more so now than ever, right? To get one of those 8 coveted at-large spots.
Yeah.
Everything is so scrutinized when it comes down to getting one of those spots. One of the questions that I have for you today, maybe my hardest hitting question, is how do you get all of these great left-handed post players? You had Big Joseph last year, who may have turned into my favorite player in all of junior college basketball, watching him sling the rock around the outside, just a great perimeter passer. This year, Miles Thompson growing into one of my favorite JUCO players. Are you intentionally recruiting left-handed kids, or is this something that's just happening? All these lefties want to be a Barton Cougar.
Yeah, so it's not intentional by any stretch, but I can tell you this: I do love lefties, and as a kid, being right-handed, I even wanted to try to switch over and see if I could be left-handed. I had a bunch of friends that were left-handed, and I thought it was just the coolest thing in the world. But my wife would tell you that if I see a good lefty out there, I'm gonna go recruit them. But this team, it was just kind of by chance. It was just one of those weird things where we're sitting there one day and we're like, we got several lefties on this team. So I can't say I did it intentionally, but I do love a lefty.
Jones and Thompson, not only do you have lefties, you got some really, really good lefties. So you made it to the national tournament at Neosho. You're doing great at Barton. What do you enjoy the most about coaching at the junior college level?
For me, I've kind of been all over the place. Started out in high school, did some junior college, coached some semi-pro stuff, ended up getting an opportunity to go to a Division I school in the school that I played at in Nicholls State. I think the biggest thing, that I enjoyed the most was being able to get those kids to the next level, the level that they wanted to go to. It worked out for me. I went junior college and then was able to go play Division I basketball. And that's what these kids are coming to us for. And so I want to help those guys do that. And then just being able to see these kids come in and us develop them, not just as players, but also as people, has been really, what I enjoy the most. I've had some opportunities to leave and go back to a 4-year and be an assistant and things like that. But you just really enjoy seeing these kids mature and grow and then move on to the next level, and then watching them there do that. And then guys like, Joseph Akul and Freddie McSwain, the guys that I've coached that are now playing professionally, seeing them just turn into what they've turned into is what I enjoy the most about coaching junior college.
That's awesome. Now, here we are as we're recording this. You're 22-1. You would be on everybody's short list of teams that we think could win the national title. And I know that you're never probably going to be happy with where the team's at, but what are you looking as the areas where you need to see the most improvement between now and March 30th to win a national tournament or win a national title at Barton?
So, I focus on, quite a few things, but I think that really for us to be a team that can do it, we got to get better at everything. There's not one particular thing that I think that this team, needs to improve on the most. I just think every day we're going to continue to work on the things that we work on in practice and get better at those things. We're a good rebounding team. We're up in the top of the conference in rebounding, but we work on it every single day because we feel like we can get even better. There's several things that we're first in the conference, but there's some things we're second, a few things we're third in. And so we just want to continue to get those, work on those, and just become a better all around team. But I don't think there's one thing. I can't look at anything and say, well, we need to get better at our post defense, or we need to get better at, ball screen offense, anything like that. I mean, obviously we would love to, be better in our execution and things like that offensively. I guess maybe be a little bit more consistent defensively as far as our help and our help to helper stuff. But again, I think there's everything we can get better at. As far as, when you're talking about winning a national championship, you've got to be on point with everything.
Well, Coach, I get to ask the hardest hitting question here. This is the one that, you probably should be sweating about a little bit, but, so imagine, if you will, big Jayhawk road game, and you come away with the dub, and you say, you know what, the boys deserve something special tonight. So you direct the team bus to pull over in there where that glow of the green and red neon sign is coming from, and you pull into the Chili's parking lot. What are you having at Chili's?
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's, that must have been a big win, because normally where the pizzas are delivered.
Oh yeah, no, this is like a night tilt at
Yeah.
Coffeyville or something. I mean,
Okay. So, this is going to make me sound kind of soft, I think. I'm kind of a rap guy, man. I love raps. Now, I don't know. I haven't been at Chili's in quite a long time. So I don't know if they've got wraps, but it's definitely going to be something, grilled chicken, or like maybe even a grilled chicken salad for sure.
Okay.
Kind of
different answer.
A little bit of healthy stuff. It just,
the 2,800 calorie chicken wrap from Chili's.
Helps with the stress level.
If you get to the national tournament
Mm-hmm.
and we're winning, and you get midweek and you have maybe a night game, or maybe you have an off day on a Thursday,
Yeah.
Can we get a commitment from you here live on the show that we can get Coach Combs to a Chili's?
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
That's our first commitment, people. We've been doing this for 2 years. This is our first live commitment. And I'm scouring the menu now. I think we can make this work.
Okay.
We'll call ahead. We'll talk to the good folks at Chili's. I'm sure we can get a wrap going for you, for sure.
That would be amazing.
We'll get you a Chili's hat so you can do a signing thing for the commitment and whatnot to the whole
very good little NIL deal there.
Yeah.
Nice. Something. Yeah.
Yeah, we do whatever we want these days. That's fine. Think about it. So, Coach, well, we appreciate you coming on. When we come back, we will get into the grind.
Welcome back to JUCO Jam. We are going to talk about some of the best players in junior college basketball, past and present. We're going to start with the grind in Malik Ewan at South Plains. He's a transfer from Ole Miss, 6'10 sophomore from Lawrenceville, Georgia. On the season, just a stat stuffer, averaging 13, 8.5, and 3.7 assists per game. Coming off a season high 32 versus New Mexico. He's been in double figures the last 3 games. It seems like he's really putting it all together for the stretch run. Talk a little bit about his game and maybe what his prospects are.
Yeah, I got to spend some time with him at our jamboree in the fall. And they had a game where they weren't playing a lot of their starters. And so, him and Jabari and a few other guys were kind of sitting at the end of the bench. And so I just sat down and talked to him. And Malik was fantastic. He was great to talk to, seems like a really nice kid. And he is a heck of a player. And I would say this to his face, I was highly unimpressed with his defense early on. It was definitely here's what I want to do, and I'm just going to do it. And the things that I don't want to do, I'm not going to do. And Coach Sowers did a heck of a job kind of, I think, getting him to realize, like, that's not how this works at this level, man. If you want to take advantage of the opportunities that are going to be in front of you, you have to be a complete basketball player. And honestly, really, for the first time in Malik's life, he's playing lights out defense. And so, that has been a huge part of the success for them. That's a huge part of why he's got as much of an argument as anybody for National Player of the Year so far. And so, I think the rewards of those decisions that he made in adjusting to how he needs to play and listening to Coach Sowers and being a leader on this team, he's going to see the reap the benefits of those.
I love player comps. And I promise you, I'm not going to give you Craig Elo. I can only give you so many Craig Elo player comps.
But why aren't you going to give me Craig Elo?
and I know as a scouting guy, you love getting player comps from a complete novice. But recently he's been handling the ball a lot more and actually played point guard a decent amount versus New Mexico. One thing that's impressed me all season long, I think like he has a very innate sense of timing. Like as far as block shots, some people just can block shots because they're really ultra athletic and they're bigger, taller, stronger. Like he actually has good timing and a good feel for it. But here's my player comp for you.
Okay.
Joakim Noah.
Ooh, that's not bad.
Okay.
That's not bad. I can get on board with that.
Now, if I said Craig Elo, you would have, you would have probably still said something nice. But I think Joakim Noah is a decent player comp.
I spent some time with Joakim in France, and I can tell you, after spending some time with Malik, those are 2 very different human beings from each other. but I can
on the court.
I can get on board with the on the court player comp. I'm about that life.
We're going to transition to the show, and if I had to create a list of my top 10 all-time favorite junior college basketball players, DeJour Reeves is on that list. Currently playing at Northern Colorado, the place where dreams come true. He spent 2 years at Trinidad State, took them to the national tournament, both years at Trinidad State. 6 foot, 170 pounds from Syracuse, 14 points, shooting 38 from three, 83% from the free throw line. His last 2 games, I feel like they've freed de Jour, 25 and 21. It's almost like I feel like they're trying to keep him down so he returns for his senior season. Maybe they have some sort of like Dalton necked fear that could happen if they completely just cut him loose. But this guy is a basketball player and he can score the rock.
Yeah, I mean, there is nobody in the country that will deny that you and I are complete de Jour Reeves fanboys.
I'm all in.
Yeah. And yes, he plays at the former home of future lottery pick Dalton Knecht, which is super exciting. But he started off the season great. Was a starter, and then he got a concussion, and that kind of just held him out. I don't know, 4 or 5 games, something like that, and they eased him back into things, and it seems like they're cutting him loose now, and they're getting the rewards for that because. You and I have probably watched de Jour Reeves play more basketball than just about anybody other than Coach Folda. So when you see de Jour kind of get into this, into his bag, as they say, it's going to be a heck of a finish for him. I think, if it would not shock me at all if he averages 19 plus the rest of the way. Just because when he kind of hits that gear that he has, that extra gear, it's really tough to stop him, and it seems like he's found that.
I'll tell you what, watch out, people. Next year, it's coming. Like he's going to put up enormous numbers next year. That concludes the show. Oh no, I retract that. That concludes that concludes not the show JUCO Jam. That concludes the portion of the show that we call the show.
It's true.
But if you would like to come back, because believe it or not, there is yet more, we're going to talk about the sixth man with some closing thoughts.
As the second largest intercollegiate athletic association in the country, the NJCAA serves not only a pivotal role in college athletics, but in higher education. The NJCAA Foundation aims to move the association forward through resources, grant programs, and other special initiatives. Your gift to the NJCAA Foundation will make a difference and create opportunities.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
Welcome back to JUCO Jam. We're going to get into our sixth man with our closing thoughts. Brandon, have you ever considered that not only is NJCAA the best sport on earth, but it also has the best nicknames? So I got 3 for you today. I picked one from D1, D2, D3. I'm going to let you tell me which one you think is the best mascot name. But then I will also take applications if you want to try to replace any of these. All right. So this is what I got for Division I. I got the Eastern Arizona Gila Monsters. Not only is it an amazing name, it's a strong logo because the Gila Monster is actually flexing on the mascot. So on the image, if you will. Now we're going to stay in Region 1, but I'm going to go Division 2 for the Scottsdale Artichokes. You can't beat the Artichokes. And then
fighting artichokes. They're not casually sitting artichokes. They're fighting artichokes.
Yeah, I mean that's even better. Now, what I think is the strongest of all the names, we're going to go into Richland and the Thunder Ducks. And how I have no Thunder Duck swag is beyond me. And if anyone out there at Richland is listening, I would love to figure out how I can order some Thunder Duck swag.
I
So
promise you, he will put it in the background. There will
I
be.
might I will wear a Thunder Duck shirt on JUCO Jam if I can get one. But in any sport, can you beat Gila monsters, fighting artichokes, and the Thunder Ducks?
No, because the first thing that somebody might go to is they might pivot to minor league baseball, right?
Mhm.
But the thing is about minor league baseball is they are intentionally goofy about it, right? Like they're just like, I don't know, man, let's put a toasted marshmallow on a hat and call it a mascot, right? Like that's what we did in Colorado Springs. They're going out of their way to be weird. These guys are all in on this. I mean, this isn't like, hey, let's just be weird. They're like, no, this is who we are. We are the fighting artichoke. You have to peel back the layers from to really get to the heart of the
Mm,
artichoke and who we are.
I see what you did there.
as a,
Yeah.
as a program.
If anybody out there could give us an origin story on any of
I
these,
know people there. I know people there. I personally own a Fighting Artichoke t-shirt that is, probably my prized possession, I guess. Um, no Thunder Duck or Gila Monster swag yet, but I sure we can make something happen. So, now I will say, and this is no offense to the Gila Monsters or the Thunder Ducks, but I am all in on the artichoke because first off, it's a vegetable, I think, that is difficult to eat. A lot of people don't understand the whole like you don't actually like bite it. It's situation. There's complexity and nuance to the
and you
fighting
cook and you cook,
and I cook.
right?
So I
You're
know how
skilled.
to make an artichoke.
Is there
Um,
anyone that you feel that has been slighted? Is there anything that you're passionate about? Now, just from aesthetically, right? I love the New Mexico Thunderbird. I
right.
love the sport. It's a great logo, and just the Harcum Bear. I love the bear
Yes.
logo. It's traditional, but it's a great logo. It's very good. Coach John Ball and the folks there at Harcum do terrific work. But do you feel that there's anybody that I've slighted?
I,
And I'm putting
I
you on the
think I think
spot
we
here.
made I think we made the right choices here. If anything, if we're going to really dive into this further, is a strongly worded letter needs to be written to the Lee College administration about the new mascot. Um, but other than that, I think I'm all about the explorers, right? Like, yeah, of
Yeah.
course, let's go explorers. But
If there was a not top 10 list,
yeah, it looks
Lee,
like
I'm
one of
sorry. You
the
have one of the great coaches. You have a great team. But if we could maybe go back to the drawing board on that mascot.
it looks like one of the bad guys from ET that's chasing after him in the
Like,
spacesuit
yeah, or
situation.
the Lego helmet. It's just like a Lego helmet that
It's
you
a
stick
Lego
on
helmet. Yeah,
someone's head.
yeah. So
So I know you have something more thought provoking with your. It's a better human interest story,
I
if
feel
you
like that sixth
will.
man went to a seventh, eighth, and ninth man, 12th man off the bench at the end of the game on that one. But yeah, so I'm going to talk a little bit about Gideon George, who we've talked about before on this, and anybody that knows me or knows Gideon, kind of knows some of the background between he and I there. But I think this is an important thing to talk about because we always talk about the opportunities that the NJCAA provides. We talk about the different paths that people have. And I can assure you that when Gideon came into playing in the NJCAA from Nigeria, he thought that his future was being a professional basketball player. And he played at an incredibly high level and was very successful there. And he had all the opportunities in the world to be a professional basketball player, just like the plan was all along for him, or what he thought, he needed to do with his life. And instead, he has decided to turn down those numerous opportunities that he had, with even a chance at making a run at maybe playing in the NBA in the next couple years. Instead, put focus and energy and time into his charity work that he does, and make his charity work his lifelong passion, his career, whatever you want to call it. And as much as he loves basketball, he loves service more. And I just think that's incredible. A story that wouldn't have happened without the NJCAA. And the NJCAA provides opportunities not only when you're in school, but prepares you for those opportunities in the future. And when Gideon was at New Mexico Junior College in the NJCAA, figured out how much he loved service and how much he loved service to other human beings. And so now that's what he's decided to do with the rest of his life. And I couldn't be more proud of him.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, not only a great basketball player, just a great guy off the court as well. And just wish him and his charity all the success in the world. Brandon, another show in the books. We covered a lot of ground. Some of it was probably productive. Let's do it again next week.
I'm in.
All right. Enjoy your basketball this week, and we'll talk soon.